Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts, and today we're going to be talking about take control of your life and win it. You know, I have the ability on a daily basis to work with different people that call me up, they complain, they make excuses, all these different things. And, you know, this podcast is for me to give you deliverables to be able to apply them to your life to be able to get success. And today, that's what I want to do. This morning, early in the office studying, I was looking at analytics, and the majority of the listeners are 28 to 44 men population. And so here's the great thing about that is I remember where I was at 28 and all the things that I was facing. I remember what I was like, where I was at 30. I remember at 35. I remember at 44. And today at 48, you know, I'm going to give you some information that is definitely, if you apply it, going to make a difference in your life. So let's get started here.
Let's go! What up?
The first thing, other people want your problems. I've got a good friend that actually is a listener here to the podcast, Dr. Stroh. And through our years of relationship, you know, he would ask me, Jeremy, what do you got going on today? And I'd tell him, you know, I'm going running to the manufacturing plant. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And he would over and over text me at the end. He'd say, you're a champion, but he'd always say something like, other people want your problems. And at first, I really didn't understand where he was going with that. And then as I really started thinking about it, the first thing I'll tell you is your problems are actually a good thing. You know, I've got a brother that pastors a large church, and he told me the more problems I have, that means the more growth I'm experiencing. You know, the more issues I have, that means if you do not have problems, that means you're sitting on the couch watching Netflix doing nothing. You know, my grandma one time at 13, I got a small FHA farmer's loan, and I purchased some cows, and I had a calf got eaten up by some dogs, and I was trying to nurture it back to life, and I was feeling sorry for myself. It's the first time I had my own little business, and my grandma said, Jeremy, can I give you some advice? After, of course, I asked her to pray for the calf. You know, I was like, man, I don't want to lose a $400 calf. And she said, another 13-year-old boy would do anything to trade places with you right now. He might be dealing with cancer. He might have a mom and dad that don't love him. He might be sleeping under a bridge with no home. But here's what you got to understand. Problems are usually not as big as what you think they are. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you have problems, that is a good thing because you're probably going out there and making some things happen. You're going out into the workforce. You're working on relationships. But here's what I'll tell you. Don't dwell on the issues. Focus on the solutions. If you're going through major growth in your business, you know, don't focus on the issues. You say, you know what, here's the solution for that. But remember, other people want your problems. If you have problems, that's a great thing. And don't dwell on the issues, focus on the solutions. Next is don't just talk about it, do it. You know, I love the Nike slogan, just do it. You know, we live in a society today where we announce all of our plans to the world. Social media is filled with people broadcasting their goals, telling their friends and making a big show of what they're going to do. But here's the hard truth. The ones who talk about it the most do the least. You need to become that person that you say, I'm serious about getting results, and it's time to stop talking and start doing. Put your head down, focus, and work in silence. Let your success do the talking. That focus and work in silence has got so much power and meaning behind it. Don't go out there and say, you know, I feel like I need to tell everybody. I'm going to post on social media. I'm going to do this workout for 90 days. I'm going to eat like this I'm not telling you that's all bad, but I'm going to tell you this. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're not going to get the results. The right reasons is to focus on the results and let the success do the talking. Next is when you stop chasing validation, whether it's likes on Instagrams, attention, or applause, and instead channel all your energy into the grind. That's when you become unstoppable. So if you think about this, if I have a plan today and I want to do this in business, I want to do this in my career, I want to do this in my physical fitness, and in silence, I'm putting all of my effort into that grind, no one can stop me. I become unstoppable because I'm not worried about the attention. I'm not worried about the applause. I'm so just focused in that grind that I'm gonna become unstoppable. I have proven to self that anything that is put in front of me, I will beat it. I will defeat it. Now let's talk about why here. The reason why is because your energy is focused where it matters, on improving, staying disciplined, and stacking up real wins. See, if my energy is only looking at how many likes on Instagram, if my energy is only how many times my wife says good job, if my energy is focused on trying to prove to my dad or trying to prove to my boss or trying to prove to someone else that I'm doing something good, then there's no energy left for me to really focus on that discipline and improving and staying in the game and just stacking up wins. Now, think about it. How many people have you seen loudly proclaiming their big plans only to fall flat? They get a quick hit of dopamine from telling the world, but that's as far as they go. Here's the thing, talking doesn't get you results, action gets you results, execution gets you results. The world doesn't care what you say you're going to do, it cares about what you've actually done. So stop announcing your next move and just make it happen. It's as simple as that. You show people by delivering results, not promises. I mean, there's so many promises out there. I'm gonna. I call it someday I'll. Someday I'll get ripped. Someday I'll make a lot of money. Someday I'll. Show people by delivering results, not promises. Respect isn't earned through words, it's earned through what you achieve. The bottom line is this right here: success speaks louder than words. Focus on doing and let the results speak for themselves. It's as simple as that. So you say, well, Jeremy, what are some advice? I get it. I get excited when you're talking about this. You're right. I've been looking for attention. I've been looking for the applause. I've been looking for the validation from others. So what kind of advice would you give me? Here's what I'd say. First thing is be a thought leader. Your thoughts that turn into actions. So we have a tendency to watch on Instagram, to read a book, and we want to, yeah, it's great to read a book and to take an idea, but do we implement it? It's great to listen to someone and say that sounds cool, but really and truly, once you get into middle age, my best advice for you is don't just take someone else's thoughts. Be a thought leader yourself. Have you really visualized where you want to be in 2 years? Have you really sit down and spent the time to make you a vision board of where you want to be? Have you really put together the things that you need to do in order to accomplish that? And then if you've done all of those things, have we taken actions to do that? Next question I have for you. Are you on a mission to kick ass? I have, again, so many people that I run into contact with. And, especially as a man, it's easy to kind of find that pattern in life where we kind of accept the fact that our job is just to provide. I'm just a dad. The electric is on. My family's got a nice home. I'm paying for select sports. I'm doing, and it's almost like we kind of fall into this just little slump of we're thinking, I'm doing my job. And those men, the ones I work with, what they're missing is they're not getting up every day on a mission to kick ass. They're not competing. They're not going out there saying, I'm going to win it. So I want to share with you a little bit of football terms and challenge you here. And that's this right here. Number one is talk less and act more. Create a plan and go compete. And here's the question I want to ask you. There's 52 weeks in a year. So if you think about this, what's your record for this past year in 2024? If there's 52 weeks in a year, how many games did you win? And you say, well, I don't really understand where you're going with that. Well, it's pretty simple. Think about this. You are the head coach. You are the one driving your family. So if you really put it all together, your career and financial, your physical health and fitness, your mental health, your relationships and fatherhood, your identity and purpose, the time management, have you let addictions and habits steal from you? But if you really look at all those things, career, financial, physical fitness, relationships, mental health, fatherhood, identity and purpose, your time management, during last week, did you win or did you lose? See, I love the Nick Sabans and I love the Tom Brady's because I guarantee you the minute that game was over, guess what they was thinking about? Who are we playing next week? How do we need to get better? What do we need to improve on? Do we need to stop the run? Do we need to stop the pass? Do we need to, that is the way life is designed. It's all designed of, okay, where do I need to look at here in my career and financial? What do I need to do to plan for the future? What does my physical fitness look like? And I'll tell you this, I was talking to a guy yesterday. He said, Jeremy, I'd love to be physical fit. I'd love to, look good when I take my shirt off. And here's what I told him about physical fitness. Once you fall in love with physical fitness, where you need to work out 5 to 6 days a week, and it takes about 5 to 6 months to get there, you're going to find out that just looking good with your shirt off, that is just a piece of the puzzle that really don't matter as much, because that strength, that discipline, that consistency is going to help develop and nurture all these areas that is more important than just looking good without your shirt. But ask yourself, if there's 52 weeks in a year, in 2024, how many did you win? Did you wake up on Monday morning and you was a little bit slow and sluggish because maybe you drank some margaritas on Sunday night, so you didn't work out on Monday? You went to your job or you went to your business and you half-assed it halfway through the day, and you drink a little bit more coffee, and then you went home and you sit and watch TV, and then you've done the same thing Tuesday and you've done the same thing Wednesday. I'm going to tell you right now, most people have a very losing record throughout every week, throughout every year. And then they call me, or they call another coach, or they call a friend, or they call a family member, and they complain and moan because they're losing in life. This is something, the hard truth, I'll share with you in close. Hard truth, no one is going to come save you. I've heard this so much through my 20s and my 30s. See, as a small kid, you know what? Mom and dad is going to put food on the table. They're going to make sure you have clothes. They're going to make sure you kind of move in the right direction. But I'm talking to grown men here. And I'm telling you right now, if your relationships is not where you want it, your finances is not where you want it, your physical fitness is horrible. You can't even bend down without tying. You can't even bend down, tie your shoes without losing your breath. You can't bend down to pick up anything. You can't go move tires and do what a man should do, go climb a mountain, all those different things. No one is going to come save you. You are in control of how your book ends, and you and only you determines that. You know, I did a training for a lot of years in speaking, and I didn't mean to add this here at the end, but I feel it's necessary. Where basically what I did to totally change my life is I went to the end of a blank journal and I wrote out exactly where I wanted to be in a 2-year time frame. And basically at the time I was in my early 30s, and I wrote out the money I wanted to make. I said I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad. I said I'm going to coach my kids in baseball. I'm going to take magical vacations with them. I'm going to do all these different things. I'm going to date my wife once a week. I'm going to do all these different things. And I wrote out exactly the way I wanted my life to live. And then I started at chapter 1. And I said, this is what I'm going to have to do during this first 90 days of the first chapter. Then I evaluated all of that, and then I said the next chapter, the next 90 days. The next 90 days, there's 4 chapters in a year, 4 90 days in a year. I did that 8 times and dramatically changed my life. But here's what I made sure I was doing. I was winning as many days as I could, for I could win as many weeks as I could, so I could win 13 of those weeks, which is 90 days. I could take a deep breath and I could do it again and do it again and do it again to get to that promise that I made myself at the end of that book. Thank you guys for joining the Hard Truth Podcast. Take control of your life and win it. And if this podcast made an impact on you, I'd really appreciate you sharing with friends and family. We actually got a good report this morning about the growth of the podcast, and I get a lot of feedback from a lot of you. I have a hard time asking for reviews. I have a hard time asking to follow our YouTube channel, things like that. That's not in my nature, but that would mean a lot to me if you say, hey, this guy can really help me because he's already been through where I'm at in life. Share with your friends and family. Give us a review. Thank you for joining the Hard Truth Podcast.
Let's go!